Hi, hello everybody. How are y'all doing? Having a good evening so far? Good. Can everybody come around, please, so we can all see and hear each other? Please try to keep your distancing. I know everyone is very anxious to come out on a nice night, but we still need to maintain social distancing. So my name is David. I'm part of Save Our Seniors. And I want to welcome all of you here tonight to say no to corporate violence and to say no to anti-Asian violence. Corporate violence I'm talking about is Pacifica. Pacifica and 118 Japanese Americans who are now deceased. We're going to kick it off with a candlelight procession. We're going to go down here, take a right on First Street, and right through the JPP, cross Second, and right into the Hashimoto Plaza. And we're going to try to do it in an unprecedented social distance manner. So we have David Maldonado here. Mr. Maldonado, raise your hand. Give it up for Mr. Maldonado. He is going to instruct everybody here to try to line up down there and be 6 feet apart by holding tape, traffic tape, that everybody's going to be holding onto. See that? Okay. That way we can hold on to the tape and maintain 6 feet. Does that make sense? Yep. So we want you to line up in 2 rows, going down this 1 row right now down there, right after people speak. Okay? Now, do we need Japanese translation? Is there anyone here? 通訳必要な人、お方の人、どうぞ手を挙げてください。こんばんは皆さん。私の名前は門川清と申します。SOS の一人の移民者です。通訳を必要なお方はどうぞ手を挙げてください。All right. Thank you very much. Right now, I wanted to present here a friend of mine as well as someone in the community who's been doing a great deal of work with Black Lives Matter and many other issues. One of the more progressive members of the faith community, Minister Diane Ujia. Give it up for Minister.
Thank you to the organizers. If we can just invite the ancestors into the space by clapping 3 times. 1, 2, 3. One again. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, let us pause to take a deep breath and exhale together. Let's pause to acknowledge that we are on stolen Tongva land. We grieve together. We honor the lives of 118 great-grandparents, parents, aunties, uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins, and friends who traveled oceans, fought in wars, lived in horse stalls and barracks, built J-towns all across the state, worked on farms, brown arms, cooked our meals, filling our bellies, cleaned homes, gardened yards, nursed, taught, designed, healed, led, and engineered, paving the way. For you, and me, and you, and you, and you. Place your hand over your heart. Feel your heartbeat, the rise and fall of your breath. 118 no longer have breath. We mourn the 118 deaths at Kei-Ai, occurring while our community is being attacked, injured, and killed. These are shared attitudes that reduce our humanity, resulting in unnecessary pain and anguish for all of us. Now raise your hand to rebuke the sin of corporate greed. As community, we rebuke Pacifica's corporate greed. As community, we rebuke neglect and abuse. As community, we rebuke a broken healthcare system. As community, we stand, pray, support, march, protest, advocate for, and walk together. Sisters, brothers, siblings, as we walk together, walk with a sense of purpose. Together, we name our righteous anger. The heat of our anger ignites a fire for justice, and as we pursue justice, justice fuels just hope, just courage, just unity, just compassion, just love. Oji-san, Oba-chan, Oto-san, Oka-san, aunties, uncles, friends, and family deserve honor, respect, and dignity. Let us walk together as community, unbroken and unified. Ashe and Amen.
Ashe! Thank you. Give it up for Minister Diane. Thank you so much. I just want to introduce, before we start lining up and leave it up to Mr. Maldonado, I just want to introduce Reverend Yokoyama from Long Beach Buddhist. Reverend Yokoyama. Raise your hand, please. Thank you so much for coming out. Also, we have Reverend Ray Fukumoto. Reverend, thank you so much, Reverend, for coming out. Last but not least, our esteemed Assemblyman from the 66th District, Assemblyman Al Murasuchi. Assemblyman Al Murasuchi. Come on up here, Al, so we can see you. Don't run away. I know you're injured. Come on up here. Thank you so much, Al. So we have also Tracy Imamura, one of the families, the residents. One of the residents who are resisting this whole eviction.
Thank you, President.
We also have Margaret, Miyaguchi Margaret. Can you raise your hand, please? She's also one of the families of courageous people resisting the eviction. Wait. Hello, people. There we go. People better get wise about capitalism. Because all this racism, this system started with white supremacist racism when they massacred all the Indians. And then they went to Africa in 1619 and brought them in chains to be slaves for 250 years. Black people suffered over 100 years of lynching, white supremacist lynching. This is capitalism. The country was founded by white male only white male, no female, and only white male property owners. People don't know the history because the system, the university, they don't teach it. Go into newsandletters.org. I am a student of Karl Marx. I've been studying his writing for 30 years. And his writing is not communist Russia. It's not communist China. Those are state capitalist societies that call themselves communism. The perversion of communism.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your cooperation, those that have inconvenienced all these
No crap. I mean, I'm sure it is a split. It would be a split situation. There would be more people who would, like, I mean, Atlanta does have
Stephen.
Hi. Good to see you.
This is like
There's no.
Michael, Fredo Ortiz. Fredo Ortiz and Marcelo Hernandez. Let's give them another hand. Also, Shin Wei Wu. Shin Wei Wu, Chakachi. There you go. Great job. And everybody give it up for Shin Wei Wu. Thank you so much. I'd like to ask again for translations, people who may need translations. 通訳を必要なお方、ぜひ手を挙げてください。お願いします。通訳を欲しい人はどうぞ手を挙げてください。Thank you so much for spending your evening here.
This tree.
I can't hear you.
What about the tree?
日本通訳の欲しいお方は、あそこの木に行ってください。川島さん、手を挙げてください。Shige Kawashima over there with his hands up. Please proceed to that area. You'll be doing simultaneous translations right under that tree. Thank you so much. ぜひ川島さんのいる木の下に行ってください。どうぞ。通訳者がいますから。Thank you so much. I'm going to present someone here who is going to open this, who needs no introduction. As everyone knows, unfortunately, there was a temple here right behind us, Higashi Honwanji, which was vandalized by criminals and vandals a couple weeks ago. And Reverend Ito is one of the people who is trying to come to terms with it and set the community on the right path. So I'd like to introduce Reverend Noriaki Ito.
Yay!
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so honored to be with so many of you here this evening. As it was mentioned, our temple got vandalized on the 25th of February, and fortunately no one got hurt, and the damage wasn't that extensive, and so we're well on our way to repairing everything, and then to strengthen or shore up our security safeguards so that we can try to prevent this kind of thing from happening in the future. But one thing is that we received such an overwhelming amount of support, not only from our own members, but from the entire community. And the GoFundMe campaign raised way more money than we expected. And we're really grateful to Midway Progressives for starting that campaign for us. At any rate, we thank you for your support, and we hope that we can continue to be an important part of the Little Tokyo and Japanese American community. I was asked to share a little bit about Buddhist tradition of memorials, and tonight we gather here to honor and to remember the 115 elders who died during the pandemic at the Kei-Ai Los Angeles and Kei-Ai Taipei facilities. Our Japanese Buddhist tradition places great importance on memorials, on holding memorial services for those who passed away before us. At least among Buddhists, people tend to remember the memorial dates of parents and grandparents much more than their birth dates. When a loved one, a family member, a friend passes away, we say that the person has become a Buddha. Not in any mystical way, but using the definition of a Buddha who is our teacher. Like the historical Buddha who paved the path for us to walk, in which we can find meaning and happiness in our lives. Those who passed away before us also help us to find that path in which we can awaken to the interdependence of life, to nurture wisdom and compassion in our everyday lives. As long as we are able, we receive the mission to help others, especially those who are old and unable to live independently. And we continue to try to the best of our abilities to fulfill the wishes we received from our family and friends who passed away. May we also remember the many who died most recently in Atlanta, and especially the vulnerable, the elders, the women who were victims of crimes against the Asian community. I thank you so much for all of your support, and hope that we can do whatever we can to make the present and the future much brighter for all of us and for everyone that we live together with. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to join you this evening. Thank you.
Yay! Yay, Reverend Ito.
Let's hear it for Reverend Ito one more time. Thank you so much, Reverend. Can we have up here Francine Imai, please, and the residents and their family, residents' families.
Hello everyone, thank you so much SOS Network, Assemblyman Santiago and all of the other organizations represented here tonight for your support and presence. And thank you my new friends for joining us tonight. My name is Francine Imai. Tonight I am representing the Sakura ICF Family Council, which was formed on March 4th, 2021. The purpose of the Family Council was started to address the care, needs, and concerns of the Sakura ICF residents, including the proposed closure of the facility by its current owner, Pacifica, as well as to support each other during this very crucial and difficult time. First of all, we would like to let each family member of the Kei-Ai residents, both in Los Angeles and South Bay, we send you our deepest condolences to each and every one of you. Our hearts are with you. We are here to support you. We are so very sorry and do not understand why Pacifica volunteered to open the doors for Kei-Ai LA to be a designated COVID facility. The elderly and COVID do not mix. Many of the residents were 80 to 100 years of age, which ended in the result of 118 total unnecessary deaths. The greed to receive monetary compensation for COVID patients is unforgivable for all the deaths and heartache this has caused. Our seniors did not deserve this by any means. It is also very upsetting and unbelievable that the families were not informed the facility would be a COVID-designated facility. According to the Kei-Ai website, it has been a COVID-designated facility as of March 2020. Thank God, as of March 3rd, 2021, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health retired the COVID-19 designated facility program. We hope this will soon end positive COVID results for the entire facility. At this time, we pray for the families that lost their loved ones. Please bow your head and look to the Lord. Dear Almighty God, we thank you for those attending tonight as we celebrate the lives of the 118 loved ones that lost their lives to COVID. We ask peace be still for all the families that lost their loved ones, not only to COVID, but for all those that lost someone they loved. Please comfort them with peace in their hearts, minds, bodies, and souls. Thank you for your love, mercy, and grace. We give you all the honor, all the praise, and all the glory. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, amen. We would like to share with you the mental heartache and devastation we as Sakura ICF families are going through. On February 26, 2021, all family members were sent a mass email of a notice of closure. We were a bit shocked as we had just received a letter stating the residents would not be evicted just a few weeks prior. How can Pacifica again be so heartless by deciding to close the facility when we are still in the middle of the pandemic? It is too early to predict the vaccines are going to keep us safe. There are new strains mutating. One of the facilities suggested for transfer is Kei-Ai. Why in the world would we want to transfer our loved ones to a facility with the highest COVID fatality of all nursing homes in the state? We were informed as of March 15th, 2021, 8 residents tested positive with COVID at Kei-Ai. Sakura ICF had no resident COVID positive cases from the start to the present. Looking for a new resident for our loved ones is very stressful and emotional. Due to the pandemic, all responsible parties for the residents are not able to go to very many facilities to see if they are the right fit for our loved ones. It was mentioned we can see photos online. However, we all know photos can be very deceiving. Due to the mental conditions of many of the residents, a transfer at this time will cause stress, confusion, depression, and anxiety. They do not deserve this and should live out their lives with the same quality and care they are receiving now. Assisted living does not provide enough care for those with mental conditions who need more assistance than others, and to also avoid unnecessary accidents such as falling or slipping. Our loved ones can still feed themselves and walk with walkers, so skilled nursing facilities are also not the proper fit for their level of care. There are also no other ICFs in Southern California that have Japanese-speaking nurses or staff, as well as a cultural environment including meals. It is absolutely mandatory for the welfare and safety for all residents, which first language is Japanese, to communicate with Japanese-speaking nurses and staff. If they do not understand, they cannot answer correctly or communicate any urgent issues. Our loved ones consider Sakura ICF their home and are very happy there. Due to the fantastic administration of Beverly Ito and the wonderful caring staff, there is no other facility we know of with such exceptional excellence. Pacifica will not be able to find another facility of even close to equal measures for our loved ones to reside in, which is our main concern. We ask you to please support AB 279, which forbids the transfer of intermediate care facilities and skilled nursing facilities residents during the pandemic. AB 279 protects all loved ones residing in intermediate care facilities and skilled nursing homes throughout California that may be facing their own similar concerns. Please see the SOS Network website at saveourseniors.network or on our Sakura ICF Family Council website at sakuraicffc.org for further information to support this bill. We need everyone's support we can reach, as this must be passed as quickly as possible. We hope it will be passed next month in April. In closing, we want to thank Assemblymen Matasuchi and Santiago for creating this bill. Your caring spirits and devotion for the elderly are so very heartfelt and appreciated. We also want to send special thanks to both of you for all your support as well as your dedication and courage to make Los Angeles a better place for all Angelinos. You are true examples that we do have a government officials that do truly care about his actions, not just his words. Thank you so much for allowing us to share and for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Members of the families, of the residents, can we give them a hand, please? It's a very courageous thing that they're doing. As Francine said, they formed a family council, which is has the authority to submit questions and get responses. They have to respond. Pacifica has to respond. So it's a major deal. It takes a lot of courage to do this at this particular time. But it's a huge, huge step forward. huge step forward for the movement. Thank you. A good friend and one of the people that, if it wasn't for her, all this may not be happening right now. Can we have Tracy up here, Tracy Imamura for SOS.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Tracy Toshiyuki Imamura, and I'm co-chair of SOS along with our Master of Ceremony, Mr. David Monkawa. Like Francine mentioned, the Kei-Ai LA nursing home was a designated COVID facility. I know that program has ended, I think effective the middle of March. But we still have questions about the quality at the Kei-Ai LA nursing home. We want to know, why did the owner-operator apply for the LA County designated status, which means that they do take in COVID-positive patients as overflow patients from the hospitals? And why did LA County grant them this designation when Kei-Ai LA had substantiated violations in the past 2 years, like multiple improper infection control violations, inadequate supply or improper use of PPE, COVID-19 non-compliance, resident neglect, call bells inaccessible, and facility staffing violations? Why were the families who are the watchdogs for their loved ones' care locked out of the facilities to protect the residents from COVID exposure, while at the same time, Kei-Ai LA is introducing a continuous stream of COVID-positive patients from hospitals? Why did the facility fail to notify the families? How many existing residents were exposed to COVID-19 and died from it? How many more non-COVID deaths need to be added to these horrifying COVID death counts? One question that haunts me is, why are there so many COVID deaths? If the COVID-positive patients were well enough to be discharged from the hospital, why are they dying at Kei-Ai LA? What kind of care are they providing to the COVID-positive patients? Shouldn't they be healing, then going home? For reasons like these, we did start the Family Council so that there could be better transparency with the facilities. But the death toll is still rising. The Kei-Ai LA nursing home has the highest numbers of COVID cases and deaths in all of the state of California. We do have those high statistics, but tonight I am honored to put some real names and real stories to two of those who passed. First, let me tell you about Helen Howard. Our country lost over 174,000 nursing home residents and staffs from COVID. We don't know how many more passed, related to the loneliness, confinement, and unchecked quality of care. Helen passed away on April 6, 2020. She was a dedicated JACLer and served 2 terms as the JACL National President, 3 terms as the Gardena Valley Chapter President, Pacific Southwest District Governor, and honored as a JACL Living Legend. She was also the first woman of Japanese American descent elected to a local office, serving 37 years as the city clerk for Carson. The city council chambers is now named in her honor. She truly led a distinguished and accomplished life. Please remember Helen Kawagoe. Now let me tell you about Jack's lucky life. Jack Nagano wrote in his own story about his life that he was so very lucky. That seems strange because he was born during the Spanish flu pandemic and grew up poor in Boyle Heights. He fought in World War II in the South Pacific against people who looked just like him, and because of that war, he was separated from his family for years. Not things most people would say is lucky, but that is not how he saw things. He felt lucky because he was healthy and excelled at athletics as a youth. Sports and church brought him to a community of Nisei that blossomed into friendships and introduced him to a love who would become his wife. The war that brought with it racism and conflict also brought camaraderie and a source of pride at being part of the military intelligence corps. And although stationed in the South Pacific, he wasn't killed. He felt lucky because he came back to a Japanese American community that was growing. His brother Paul became pastor of Evergreen Baptist Church and went on to create many other organizations that became important in the development of the Japanese American Christian community. Jack felt so lucky to be part of it. Jack and Louise were fortunate to have 4 children. They shared their valued community with each of them, and along with his friends, he started the CYC Japanese American Basketball League. Even in his last days, Jack felt lucky. The staff and community at Kei-Ai loved him. He always had a smile and a joke for everyone at the facility. Even the kitchen staff looked forward to serving him when he came for his meals every day. He had that kind of effect. Jack felt lucky because he lived all of these moments gratefully and shared them with those he loved. Jack Nagano died of complications from COVID-19 on June 1st, 2020. He was 101 years old. He lived at Kei-Ai for 10 years. Please remember Jack Nagano. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We have another round of hand for Tracy, please. Thank you so much, Tracy. We have another friend here. How things happen. He happens to be an elected official, but I'm not going to hold that against you tonight. The man has come down to Koreatown to the Urban Partners Food Bank, and I'm seeing him swamping a lot of big produce kind of bags and things like that. So I figure, anybody that is going to be down there doing that kind of work, they deserve to be elected. Let's hear it for Assemblyman Miguel Santiago from the 53rd Assembly District.
Can't give him a hug, but we'll give him an elbow bump.
No hugs tonight.
No hugs tonight, but we soon will hug again. Look, I want to thank everybody who's out here, because this is absolutely important that we take a stand against what we are seeing in our communities. We are seeing a moment in time where we have nothing left to do but to fight back on the inequality and the injustices that are happening in our neighborhoods. I want to thank Save Our Seniors, the coalitions, and the networks that have been put together. Take a look around. Take a look around at your neighbor here. We reflect what this city has, what this country has, what the state has, from all walks of life. And yet we're standing here together in solidarity to fight back and to save our seniors. There is no way that we are going to allow them to be kicked out on the street. There is no way that we're going to allow them to get kicked out on the street. But I want you to say that out loud because they got to hear it. That there is no way that we're going to allow them to get kicked out on the street. And there is no way that we're going to allow them to get kicked out on the street. There's no way that we're going to allow them to get kicked out on the street. And we're going to take that to the streets. I'll tell you why. Because we've got this corporation by the name of Pacifica. That's right, bigger than that. Come on, they got to hear it, the corporate. Hey, look, wherever there's a protest, we know we got a mole, so we want that mole to listen and listen good. Oh, Pacifica. Here's what happens when you pick the fight with our seniors. You pick the fight with a whole heck of a lot of people in this state Because we have seen people across the state stand up. We have seen people across this country. I'm not kidding. We do Zoom now so we can talk to people from all over the state and all over the country. We had a Zoom call where we had people from different states understanding what is happening here. So they have picked a fight with a whole heck of a lot of people, and it's not a fight they're going to win. No way they're going to win this fight. No way. So here's what's at stake. Here's what they think they're going to do. They're going to make mega profits while kicking our Japanese seniors on the streets. No way that's going to happen. No way. No way. No way. It ain't going to happen here. We're going to fight them. It's a disgrace that many people should die in any location, let alone in a moment in time where we just had a president attack our Asian culture at the beginning of this pandemic. Let's think about what's happening right now in America and what's happening in our own backyard and what happened in Little Tokyo, what has happened in Pico Union MacArthur Park, and what happened in Koreatown, where our API sisters and brothers have been attacked recently, where we had a Buddhist temple that was vandalized only hours after we called out the attack on a Korean brother in Koreatown. Let's talk about that for a second. And it's at this point in history that they want to kick out Japanese seniors who have built our neighborhoods, who have long histories in these neighborhoods, who helped empower and build what Los Angeles is all about. A little bit about history. One way to understand an area's history is to understand who built it. And when you walk down our cemeteries, it's a challenge I ask anybody to do in the area. We have Jewish folks who are buried there, Japanese Americans who are buried there, many other cultures, immigrants from Mexico who are buried there, but it's telling about the deep roots of Japanese Americans here in our neighborhoods. And so in Boyle Heights, if they think they picked the fight, boy, they got something else coming to them, because they ain't going to do it, not on our watch, no way, no how, it's not happening. And we're going to fight them. We're going to fight them through legislation, which Mr. Marasucci and I have introduced, but quite frankly, it's a people-powered movement that you all pushed, and now we're moving to the legislature. We're going to fight them at the department, what you brought up, and heck yeah, we should. We're going to fight them at the local level and all their permits, and we're going to fight them with the AG's office to push them to make sure that those conditional uses are extended. So no way, no how, our seniors are not getting kicked out. They will face the consequences if they try. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Assemblyman Miguel Santiago. Assemblyman Santiago is partner in crime as far as AB Assembly Bill 279 is issued. We also have him to rearrange his time to come on down to be with all of you tonight. Assemblyman Alvaro Tucci from Torrance State in the South State. You all know him? You all appreciate him? How you doing, Al?
Thank you, David. I first of all want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight to show your support for our seniors. You know, like Assemblymember Santiago said, I mean, we really represent the beautiful diversity of the state of California. And, you know, I want to thank, again, each and every one of you for being here tonight. I want to give special thanks to Save Our Seniors. I mean, you guys have been, let's give it up for Save Our Seniors. These folks, there we go, taking donations here. These folks have been tireless in fighting. You know, ever since Cato announced that they're going to be selling the nursing home facility and the intermediate care facility 5 years ago, these folks have been fighting this cause for our seniors. So again, thank you very much to Save Our Seniors, SOS. I want to join all of you in giving my respects, my condolences to the 118 people that have lost their lives in the Kei-Ai facilities. The Kei-Ai Los Angeles, Kei-Ai South Bay, which is in my assembly district. You know, it's very ironic that those of you who speak Japanese, you know that Kei-Ai means respect and love. But the residents of Kei-Ai Los Angeles and Kei-Ai South Bay have not been getting much respect and love lately.
That's right.
When they decided to designate a nursing home as a COVID designated facility to be transferring COVID patients from hospitals to these nursing homes without even telling the residents and family members, that is not respect and that is not love. You know, the fundamental problem here is that we have these for-profit chains, these owners that have these chains of nursing homes that put profits over people. And so that's why we are all here to fight back. That's right, fight back. Woo. Assemblymember Santiago and I introduced AB 279 to prohibit these nursing homes and the ICFs from evicting or transferring residents during this COVID state of emergency. You know, when I tell people about this bill, you know, they kind of like shrug and they say, well, who would oppose that? You know, it just makes common sense that we don't want to expose our most vulnerable citizens, our seniors, to transfer trauma, you know, especially during this pandemic. I just want to end by saying that, you know, we all, especially all the Asian Americans here, we all know that we've been facing not one, but really two pandemics. The COVID-19 pandemic and the pandemic of hate against Asian Americans across the country. We are all here to support the seniors at the Sakura Gardens ICF, at the Kei-Ai nursing homes, but we are also here to stand up and speak out against the hate not only against Asian Americans, but against all people, all communities throughout the United States. We need to remember that hate crimes are not a crime just against individual victims, but hate crimes are crimes against an entire community, an entire race. And that's why it's so critical for all of us to stand up and speak out against hate. Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this event.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman Albert Tucci. We have it here for him. As the Assemblyman said, the kind of anti-Asian violence that we're seeing today, I know it's shocking me, and I know all of you are grieving from it. It's very disturbing. And, you know, if you notice, whenever spikes in anti-Asian violence happens, corporate crimes also go up. I don't know if you noticed. Even way back, when Chinese first came over, there was a whole lot of anti-Asian violence back then. They tarred and feathered people, they lynched people, and all this kind of stuff, and they fought back with axe handles and whatever they could pick up. However, you notice they never talk about Collis Huntington, Leland Stanford, the railroad barons who hired them. They're the ones who started telling people that Chinese are taking away your jobs at the same time they hired them. So when people look at individual acts of anti-Asian violence, the real culprits are always hidden in the back. Let's move it forward a little bit. The concentration camps for Japanese Americans. Now, the Pacifica, I don't know what they're thinking, but they made a mistake. they're picking on people that pursue justice over 50 years, over 2 generations, and people that never give up. Why the hell would you want to pick a fight with them, with us? You pick the wrong people, dude. When we were in camp, there was many fightbacks, many demonstrations. And in one case, when a kitchen worker union leader disappeared, there was a full uprising when 2 people shot and killed. Jimmy Ito from Pasadena, 16 years old, shot in the back. They tried to make it seem like he was shot in the front. And James Kanaga, age 21, he also died. He was shot in the front. A lot of people found out there's 6 people shot. And they don't talk about that. They don't put that in history books. They only talk about the part where Japanese are being oppressed. And they don't even do a good job with that. Okay? But they never talk about the fight back part. It's like a scalpel. They cut it out of your memory, like a racism scalpel. Move it up. Vincent Chin. Everybody remembers Vincent Chin, right? Yeah. He got killed for being mistaken as a Japanese person. And there were so many acts of anti-Asian violence going on at that time. I don't know if people remember that. You remember that? In the 90s? Yeah. A lot, okay? But who got away scot-free? What about Ford Motor Company, General Motors and Chryslers, who told all those workers, they told Evans and Nitz, the people that took a bat to Vincent Chin's head, and they told them that Japanese people and products are your enemy. They took away your job. In fact, when they were the ones making all the profit, big auto workers. So the point I'm trying to say is that every time there's been big increases in anti-Asian violence, big culprits sitting in the back, the corporate criminals like Pacifica, they get away, and we should not let them get away this time. And last but not least, let's not forget Trump. Okay? Yeah, well, everybody knows about how messed up Trump is, but his backers, the people that are making robotics, the people that are making 5G technology, they know they're way friggin' behind Chinese. So instead of talking about that, they start making up stuff. And they tell Trump, hey, the Wuhan virus, trade wars, Chinese spies. In other words, to scapegoat us again, just like with the camps, just like with Vincent Chin, just like with the railroad workers. Okay? So all of that is racism, but it's coming from corporations as well. So that's why we're saying right now, no more corporate violence, stop the violence, and save our seniors. And I wanted to. The next speaker is getting dark, man. I can't see.
I know.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Reverend Fukumoto. Do we have you up here?
Yeah.
Thank you for everybody for having come here. You know, I'm just really a homeboy, local. It just happened to be a priest, and I'm here to support. I've got 2 minutes, so rather than just kind of ramble like I normally do, I'm just going to read this. And those people that know me know. I was born and raised in the Kinjo, or neighborhood of Boyle Heights and J-Town. This is also a neighborhood that extends to all Japanese Americans, both young and old, living in the various enclaves of LA. We try to take care of our own as well as we can. With this in mind, 60 years ago, concerned Issei, Nisei, Sansei built a safe haven for the aging Nikkeis, or Japanese Americans, so that in their twilight years, a life settles where familiar comforts of Japanese food, language, culture, religion, and friends exist. Where all neighborhoods could visit to support the seniors and share in the joy of being familiar surroundings. The question, what happened to this safe haven? where 118 seniors died. 79 years ago, Japanese Americans or Nikkei community was taken from the safe havens of their neighborhood homes, only to be locked up in the inhospitable and harsh surroundings of the concentration camps of World War II. Some died. Please, please do not let this happen again to our elderly Nikkei, to make them suffer the indignation and abuse of another eviction from the safe havens made possible by the efforts of our Nikkei community. A safe kinjo for our elderly Nikkeis, where death does not come from indifference and neglect. A safe haven filled with care, respect, and compassion for our seniors. For those who have died, we can only hold remembrances. And for those who remain, our only wish is to save our seniors.
That's right.
Save us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Komodo. You know, he works with us, SOS. So when I see him in one of the roles, it's kind of inspiring. I don't know if you noticed this table out here, the table right out there. Can you raise your hands? Mr. David Maldonado, who is heading up our monitoring and security team. Okay. He's over there because that table is where all of you are going to sign up and send a letter to support AB 279. Okay?
Yeah.
Again, AB 279 is the bill that Assemblyman Santiago and Assemblyman Muratuchi sponsored and put forth. And what it will do is it will stop evictions and transfers and things like that sort during the pandemic. So please go over there. Do not feel to go over there, write a letter, submit your name, write down how you can help or what have you. Because that's going to be a really, really huge arrow in our quiver to basically go up and slay Pacifica.
Yeah!
Next, have one of our organizations, Nikkei for Civil Rights and Redress. We have Jan Yen, a board member, an organization that I'm proud to still be a member of. I don't get to participate much, but we have someone from Nikkei for Civil Rights and Redress, Jan Yen. Okay, we're going to have Mark Masaoka please come up for Nikkei Progressive.
Nikkei Progressive is proud to support SOS and the families of the seniors in the Pacifica facilities. I think that the most important thing is that when they bought these 4 facilities, Pacifica thought that their strategy is to move people around until they pass away. So we're seeing the first step of that now. They're moving people out of the Kei-Ai facility, the Sakura Intermediate Care Facility in Boyle Heights, and moving them into the Kei-Ai in Lincoln Heights. And then their next plan will move them in Lincoln Heights over to the Kei-Ai in Gardena. And eventually, because they know these are senior people, they're not going to live a huge number of years. So I think we can see their strategy is to sort of ride it out. Eventually people will pass away, and then they have this extremely valuable property. So they're going to be building properties like they have a permit application for to build market rate housing in Boyle Heights. So this is a focus that we have, and that's their corporate strategy. So we really need to be able to mobilize support. I think one of the most important things is when they transferred these properties from a nonprofit to a for-profit, they had to get the support of the California Attorney General. And now the California Attorney General is the one, in the 5 years conditions that they had to maintain the facilities for the Japanese residents, they had 5 years that they had to do that. Now those 5 years have lapsed. So we need to pressure the Attorney General to make sure that they extend those conditions, which the Attorney General has the power to do. And if they continue to require that the Pacifica Companies maintain these facilities with Japanese culturally competent services, then they won't be able to transfer all these properties into market rate housing. So these are the tasks that were ahead of us, and congratulations to Save Our Seniors and the other organizations who are here and trying to block this from happening. Thank you.
Who was the AG?
Hey, I just want to let everybody know this AB 279. Right now, the families at the Sakura ICF, my name is Tai Jen with Save Our Seniors, they do not have any legal protection. We fought the Attorney General's office. They had a closed-door policy. Part of the reason why they have a closed-door policy is we suspect there might be some campaign financing behind the motives to not talk to us. And that started with, this is just my personal opinion, it's not an official opinion, but it started at the very top. Okay, so thanks to Assembly members Murasuchi and Santiago, we now have a law that at least for the duration of the pandemic, it'll make it illegal for them to transfer and move the seniors out of the Sakura ICF into Boyle Heights. And mind you, this is also a gentrification issue, right? It's part of the displacement forces underway in Boyle Heights to destroy the entire Boyle Heights community. So it's not just a Japanese-American issue, it's a community-wide issue, and that's why we've had a lot of support from Boyle Heights. But please don't wait till the end of the program. As people are speaking, if you don't mind, listen at the same time, but go ahead and fill out. We have pre-made letters. Just need to sign your names and email information, and we'll submit the letters for you. So please feel free to go to the table. Thank you very much. And we're also taking non-deductible cash donations. Thank you.
Who's the AG? Who was the AG?
Sign the letter! Next speaker is a friend of mine and belongs to a historical society, local historical society. News added up becomes history, and we're making a little bit more of it tonight, I would hope. So Mia, could you come up, please, and lay it down so people will know what's happening with Little Tokyo Historical Society.
Oh my God, I knew it was going to get dark.
You want a light?
I just wanted to say, though, that Little Tokyo Historical Society members have families in Cairo, so it's very meaningful. The struggle is very meaningful to us. So, 4 days ago, thank you.
Oh.
Okay. 4 days ago, we saw our worst fears. The escalation of anti-Asian hate and violence. The mass murder of 8 persons in Georgia, including 6 Asian women dead. Cherokee County police are still not calling it a hate crime, yet only Asian spas were targeted, and 6 Asian women are dead. Instead, their narrative centers around the shooter, who is white. We know his name, his age, his mental health status. A sex addict trying to fight temptation, who, according to police, had a bad day, and this is what happened. And 6 Asian women are dead, victimized and marginalized. We only just learned their names today. Tonight, we are here again, fighting our worst fears
and escalating loss of our own seniors, 118 at Cato, who have fallen to the pandemic. Japanese and Japanese American residents of Kei-Ai, victimized and marginalized. People have testified that Pacifica did not inform the families at Kei-Ai that they were a COVID-designated facility. Since Pacifica took over Kei-Ai, 98 residents have suffered COVID deaths. LA Times has now designated them as the deadliest nursing facility in the state of California. Pacifica, callous, culturally incompetent, for-profit, out-of-state entity, has exploited and destroyed the reputation of Cato and spit on the legacy of the Southern California Gardeners Federation, of Nisei pioneers like Frank Omatsu, and the JA community who contributed hard-earned dollars to build a secure and fulfilling life after retirement. And I wonder, is it criminal intent to send Japanese and Japanese American residents into a COVID-infested facility, or to endanger the lives of healthy seniors in a safe facility by transferring residents from not-so-safe facilities? Our elders have earned the right to their golden years. Instead, they are again being victimized and marginalized. So tonight, we memorialize those 118 souls who have lost their lives to Cato during the pandemic. And tonight, we commit to continue this life and death battle to save our seniors. Save our seniors!
Save our seniors!
Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors!
Thank you very much, Thank you very much. I just want to say shout out to Dr. Takeshi Matsumoto. I think he's somewhere in here. Dr. Matsumoto, raise your hand, please. Raise your hand. Give it up for Dr. Matsumoto, Takeshi Matsumoto. For over 30 years, he's been serving and helping many of the seniors at Kei-Ai. Also, Mr. Theo Henderson. Mr. Theo Henderson. Can you stand up, Theo? Frank is an unhoused activist, podcaster, Kung Fu master, man of many strokes. Thank you very much, Theo. Next, we have Greater Japanese American Citizens League, Nancy Takayama.
Slight correction that you'll know when I continue on. Oh, okay. Glasses. I'm here to let the residents of Sakura Gardens know that you are being heard and supported by many friends, not just this local community. Your safety and health during this pandemic is everyone's concern. Change in environment, staff, and loss of friends will only add to the depression and isolation if relocation happens. Your mental health is equally as important as your physical health. We want you to know we are spreading the word to save our seniors, and we care. JCL chapters who support: Twin Cities, Minnesota; Mile High, Colorado; Cincinnati, Ohio; Omaha, Nebraska; St. Louis, Missouri; Chicago chapter, Dayton, Ohio, Wisconsin chapter. Locally, San Fernando Valley, Greater Los Angeles, Solonico, Ventura County, JCL Pacific Southwest District, and the National Office of the Japanese American Citizens League. I want to leave you with one thought and a question for Pacifica about transparency. On September 23rd, 2020, at the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council, a representative of Pacificor presented a very impressive slide presentation displaying the new building designs, floor plans, landscaping, and 2 multi-family buildings and a parking garage that would remove residents and eliminate the 90-bed intermediate care facility. This presentation was 5 months before the 5-year agreement was to expire. So let's talk about transparency. Pacifica, when did you know that you were going to eliminate the immediate care facility? You would have had to meet with the architect to come up with a design, where you wanted to build it, and how financially feasible it would be. How many months did it take you before you found an architectural company that presented you with a draft that met your expectations? Were you into your second, third, or fourth year of the 5-year agreement when you decided to build? So this meant you already set aside time and money to invest in an architectural firm. As noted in your February 26 letter, you knew within the first 2 years of taking over Cato what your financial responsibilities would incur. Why didn't you take the time and money you spent in finding an architect and put it into research and discovery of doing what you knew the residents and the community wanted and needed, a culturally necessary home and lifestyle? If you are in it to make money, then find another area. Don't take away the quality of life of the residents and the people by building something that isn't wanted and got voted down by the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council. Save our seniors. Let them stay where quality of life is where culturally sensitive people thrive. Raise your light to show your support and care. Thank you.
Save our seniors!
Save our seniors! Save our seniors!
Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors! Save our seniors!
Thank you very much, Nancy. Next, Carlos Montes. He's been in the newspaper, former Brown Beret, a senior who lives in senior housing in Boyle Heights. Mr. Carlos Montes. Well, I'm sorry, we're not going to get the benefit of hearing Carlos tonight. I don't think he's here right now. Right across on the other side of the freeway, Chinatown, another area where there's been anti-Asian violence just like here. And from there we have the organization Chinatown Community for Equitable Development, CCED. We have a representative here, and they've been very staunch supporters of this issue, even going back 4 or 5 years. Tiffany Lamb from CCED.
Tiffany.
I am here today from the Chinatown Community for Equitable Development. We are anti-gentrification, anti-displacement. A countless number of our Chinatown seniors have experienced landlord harassment, eviction threats, so that developers can continue building market rate expensive developments at a time when our houseless community members need housing. At the same time, we are here today because our Japanese and Japanese American elders in their 80s and 90s at Sakura Gardens are threatened with an eviction from Pacifica so that they can tear down their home to build market rate housing in Boyle Heights. I am not only here from CCED, I am also here as a resident who was born and raised and continued to live in Boyle Heights. I am now 28 years old. I serve as a caretaker for both of my parents, who are both 73 years old. I know firsthand the lived experiences of being a caretaker. I empathize with these family members whose elders are being evicted from a place that they have trusted for bilingual and bicultural sensitive care. What is happening is once again market rate development, putting our loved ones' health and livelihoods and shelters at stake. I look around and I thank you all the elders, the people of different backgrounds, people holding signs and candles. One step today has been to come together in this way, in solidarity. I ask of you the next step is to also call your freaking assembly member. Write your freaking assembly member, email them to pass AB 279 because the Save Our Seniors Network has time and time again fought in different ways, and this is one way to stop evictions from care facilities during this pandemic. Make sure your elected officials fucking do something. When the movement says to protect our elders, I ask you, as a community, to make sure elected officials listen to you. If you speak up and tell them to support and pass AB 279, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. The last step I ask you to take after today, after this week, is to understand that what we talk about today is all connected. The 118 deaths at one care facility in Lincoln Heights is no different from the violence of the eviction notices in Boyle Heights. It's no different from the violence and deaths in Atlanta of Asian women. As one major step, we all need to sit down, no matter how old we are, no matter what background we are, to sit with how our country is racist and capitalist, that has facilitated corporate greed, private development, the first mass shooting of this pandemic, misogyny and racial violence. We fight back against corporate greed. We fight back against white supremacy. We fight back against more policing. We stand in solidarity with our Black and brown communities. That is what we mean when we, the movement, say stop Asian hate, protect our elders, and save our seniors.
Yeah, Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Let's give it up for Tiffany. Mr. Carlos Montes.
How you doing, sister? Carlos Montes don't need no introductions. I'm just kidding. No, I'm here to represent the Chicano community of Boyle Heights and stand in solidarity with you all. Absolutely. I live at the Linda Vista Senior Apartment. It's only a few blocks away from Sakura. So, you know, we feel very strong about this issue. The Japanese American community has always stood with the Chicano community, with the Latino community over the years when we faced deportation, police brutality, gentrification. Many organizations from the Japanese American community over the years have stood with us, you know, in solidarity with us. So we are here in solidarity with the Japanese American community to say no evictions, no transfers, no to Pacifica Corporation. In Boyle Heights, yeah, absolutely. In Boyle Heights, we're facing major capitalist development corporations that are coming in and buying property, raising the rent, and evicting the Chicano Japanese American community that have long been in Boyle Heights. Not only in Boyle Heights, but you know, Little Tokyo has faced gentrification over the years. You know, Little Tokyo extended way into the Civic Center. And let me see if I can remember correctly. I think even the old Parker Center police station was part of the Japanese American community that came in and took property away. So I want to say that Pacifica Corporation is a national, multinational corporation It's all about making money. It's all about capital, monopoly capital that we have to defeat and denounce and support human needs. The human needs not only of housing, but of health, of supporting our elders, especially our elders who are vulnerable. You know, I live, like I said, in the senior facility. That's absolutely true, right? Right, so we have to denounce Pacifica. I wrote a op-ed piece, they call it. It came out in the San Diego Tribune. I don't know if, David, you saw that. Because I believe Pacifica has their headquarters over there. So I denounced Pacifica and called for, you know, for them to stop the transfer and eviction of our senior elders. So anyway, I'm here in Solidarity. We're with you all the way in the fight. I was at the marches, the rallies, the protests, and the fast, and I'll continue to be there. And we had 5 or 6 Central CSO members working, and we got United Teachers of LA is here, and they voted the House of Reps to support this struggle. You know, yes, absolutely. Cheer for the teachers, United Teachers of LA. There's several of them here. There's many other Central CSO members, working class people. So thank you very much. The struggle continues. We'll win. No eviction. All right.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Mr. James An, can we have you up here from the Korean United Methodist, the Korean American Federation. Mr. James An.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James An, and I'm the president of the Korean American Federation of Los Angeles. I'm here today as a representative of Koreatown and the Korean American community. As a fellow AAPI advocacy group, we stand in solidarity with all of our Japanese brothers and sisters. What Pacifica is trying to do is immoral, and their actions speak for themselves. Displacing seniors in the middle of a pandemic puts these seniors in danger. Displacement is traumatizing. It's also just plain wrong. And I cannot bear to see another member of our AAPI community, especially seniors, be neglected like this. We cannot be silent while 118 seniors die from negligence. We cannot be silent while our seniors are being displaced, and we cannot wait for more people to die. We Korean Americans are here speaking up with you. We cannot let any more members of our community be taken away from us. We've lost too many already. It is our time to rise up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ran. I'm going to be closing now, and those candles that you're holding, we're going to have a purpose for them. And Reverend Allison Marks from Faith United Methodist Church in Torrance is going to lead us in some thoughts and comments. Reverend Mark.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Allison Mark from Faith United Methodist Church in Torrance. Since I last stood with Save Our Seniors at Kei-Ai in Boyle Heights, we lifted up the lives of 111 residents of the Kei-Ai facilities in Boyle Heights and in Gardena. But only a few short weeks later, we stand together and continue to mourn the loss of 118 lives lost in the same facilities, even while the rates of COVID diagnoses are going down. In my Christian tradition, I would like to ask for a moment of the nonviolent action of peace to offer a prayer for the lives of the 118 seniors that have lost their lives at the Kei-Ai and Sakura Gardens facilities. And regardless of your faith, will you lift your candles at this vigil? Creator God, you have called us to work for peace and justice in the names of our beloved elders. We are overwhelmed by the complexities of these stories, yet we are reminded how tightly our lives are all knit together. The old lies of extraction and exploitation have created harm in our community. Lead us out into the wilderness beyond self-satisfaction, beyond denial, beyond plunder, and teach us that wherever we are, we can find opportunities to stand with people and identify with their needs and hopes. For we can no longer be silent where there is need, where there is a task for us to do. When we speak out against injustice and for your kingdom, give us courage and the right words to say. We lift up the lives of those who have died during this great pandemic, and let us remember them by lifting up their names. We also lift up the voices in our community who are unable to do so on their own. And they empower us, these voices, to bring light and voice into the darkness and the silence. In your many names we pray, amen. My friends, tonight as we lift up the lights for the 118 lives of loved ones lost to COVID in the Kei-Ai and Sakura Garden facilities in Los Angeles, on Lincoln Heights, at Boyle Heights, and in Gardena. We wish to offer comfort to the families of those who have passed in the last year after having contracted the virus. Yet, we are reminded that during this pandemic, there are multiple travesties and tragedies and victims involved in this story. As a pastor of Faith United Methodist Church, I have officiated countless memorials for our seniors in our church and community. In my own congregation, family members have lost parents and grandparents in their 90s and 100s to COVID during their residence at Kei-Ai facilities. The biblical scriptures say, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." The Old Testament scriptures say, they also say, cease to do evil, learn to do good, seek justice, rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow. So tonight, my friends, remembering those many who have lost lives and passed in this last year, we also remember the living. We call out for justice. We call out for justice for the oppressed, for our widows, for our elders. Each day on the news, we are hearing the Asian American community being faced with mass harm and violence that has been on the rise during this pandemic. And yet our community has been expected to remain silent. Silence when our elders are beaten and robbed. Silence when the names of our victims are unspoken in the media. Silence when our businesses, temples, and churches are vandalized. But at this vigil, we will be silent no more. There is harm and violence that is being done to the 68 residents at Sakura Gardens who are at the risk of being evicted and transferred into two of the international developer Pacifica Companies' highest infection-rated care homes in the country. Pacifica is endangering and risking the lives of those whom we should be lifting up and revering as our elders. Pacifica is putting our elders in harm's way by removing them from their residence at Sakura Garden. The same lives whose dignities should not be taken away once again, as many had when they lived through the concentration camps of World War II, or the racial discrimination that they faced after the war, including Pacifica's implicit erasure of culture as they have begun to change the culturally sensitive living environments of the residents of Kei-Ai and Sakura Gardens to turn a profit. Today is not a bad day, my friends. Today is a day that we use our voices. Today is not a bad day, beloved community. It is a day that we call our brothers and sisters into action. Today is not a bad day because on this night and the days that follow, you will fight against the harm and systemic violence that Pacifica is putting on our elders, and we call for justice. And as you are invited to bring your light into this darkness and light our vigil wreath, may we be reminded that the lives lost are not in vain if we take action to stop the violence, save our seniors. Stop the violence, save our seniors. Stop the violence, save our seniors. Stop the violence, save our seniors.
Folks, if you can line up and come this way and put your candles up on right here, the little table right beneath the wreath, that'll be great. Right on this side. All of you can line up on this side. Come this way and put your candles up on the wreath. Put your candles up. Yeah. Okay.
Taiko, folks. Thank you so much, Kelly Taiko. Be sure to go over there and sign up an AB 297 things.